few on this side. This is the Alix Rice Peace Park. There you go. I'll do a few on this side. There you go. Lock that bitch in. Yep. There you go. And too fast. Yeah, that was good. Push. Yeah. This is the Alix Rice Peace Park, and I've been doing those little, been starting to do skate park reviews. So this park is pretty cool. You get here and you're greeted with this like cool graffiti area, which I'll give you just like a nice walkthrough on it. So this park, likes and dislikes. I like that there's this little open section. It really could use a flat bar. These things are kind of very tall, very unusable for most people. That is potentially something that could be in my wheelhouse at some point down the road. It's actually not that tall. It's just I don't have the bravery points. Although it would be right by my side. It's a big ollie though. Ollie before the crack. So yeah, you got this and this forced air here. Go slow, figure out your turn. It's been a hot minute since we've done steep transitions. There you go. Shorter that change is, just made me say nope. Okay, that's especially with the weirdo. Could at least do that. The only things I have are these wacky things. Ah, come on, that back foot. That stuff, but it comes down to it, which is the reasonable one. I mean, to do that. In this park, I like this park. This park is fun. This park has issues though. What we get here is a bowl. I believe that's 6 foot or 5.5 or 6 foot. On this section here, with a big tall drop in, little hipperoonie, then a larger section with a steeper kind of clamshell jammy over here. So this section, if you like transition, this section is pretty fun. Very enjoyable, very fun. Yeah, this raised section here, this little thing could be fun. I haven't really started to work it yet. Then I'm gonna come over here and we get to fun sections, but also I have a gripe with this whole area. So this, I mean, perfectly doable ledge. It's very wet now, but you know, like just on its own, that is a perfectly doable ledge until, oh, whoa, what's this? So you have this big old freaking pool here. So you have to kind of, and then over here you have the very, very narrow, I mean, just to give you a sense how narrow that is. Like that's, so here's the concrete here and the pool entryway here with the raised coping there, which, man, that's not very nice. So to hit this bench for me front side, which I was doing kind of last time I was here, it's hard because you can have full commitment to come in straight. I was starting to get it last time I was here where you can kind of come in and get on like that. But my ollie is getting back to the point where it should, but it's not all together there yet. To move along here to the next area of contention / griping. These things here, which I Again, same kind of deal where you have to do this kind of crazy, janky maneuvering to get to each side. But see, it's easy. So if you're hitting it that way, easy peasy. But if you want to hit it this way, you have to kind of take this super steep angle. And then I'm not nearly warmed up enough to even consider doing that yet. But yeah, I know you have to come in at this. So if you're just really starting to learn, you know, for me at least, backside 50/50s, there's not a good space for that at all here. Because, I mean, that one is small, but you're grinding right into, you know, it's small enough to make it easy, but you're still coming up so close. Again, coping, dropping, coming up so close. So yeah, your best bet is one of these ones, but this one's a little too tall, and someday I'll get that. Someday. So yeah, there's this pool, which I don't mess with because I just don't mess with that. Here's another view of this side here. And then over here, and it looks like, yeah, everything's kind of dried off. And then you come on over here, and you got this. You know, this is a fun little area. It's a little 2-foot, I believe. Not like a straight mini half or anything like that. So it's, you know, keeps the transition on this side with that circular peace sign. You can keep going. Manual pad over here. So yeah, this is what we got the layout here. That's pretty much full circle. And then you come back to here. So I did not use a lot of the times now that I have a little rail, I'll bring the rail up. Let's see. Oh yeah. It's what this park needs though. It needs either a more reasonably placed ledge or a rail bar or something over there to kind of make up for that, because like those are fun, but like it's so hard to do anything on those. So I'm gonna warm up here, I think. Let's see what he's got. What has he got? Officially it's blue skies. Well, maybe I should go. Alright, so video probably kind of cut off a little bit and didn't really give a true final thoughts on the Alix Rice Skate Park and what I feel about it and what its official ranking is that I'm giving it. And I've got 2 ways of doing the ranking, so I guess we'll go with that first off. We'll do the rankings first, then final thoughts and wrap it up. Here we go. Final thoughts are Alix Rice Skate Park. I'm going to be doing the ratings in 2 ways. It's going to be a 1 out of 10 score, you know, average score. It's going to be an objective rating, which an objective rating is kind of, the objective rating is going to be more of your average skater's rating. So someone who's not great, not amazing, not horrible, not a beginner, not, you know, a professional. Like, this is for your average skater, as it were. So you have your objective rating, and the closest thing to the pro rating would be the subjective rating, which is basically you're taking the 3 variables from the objective rating and then you're adding 2 things to it. So what we have here is the 3 categories I'm going with, which is skateability, I'll define that, variety, that's easier to define, flow, which is something I'll also define. So, skateability is kind of just, can you maneuver around? Is the park well made? Can you actually move from point A to point B? Do you have to push too much? Do you have to walk too much? Is there big chunks missing? You know, just what is the overall condition of the park, and just how easy it is to get from point A to point B. And for the Alix Rice Skate Park, I have to be kind of harsh on it. I have to give it a rating of 7 on that, 7 out of 10. So it gets a 7 out of 10 on the sheer skateability factor. The next variable will be variety, which is the sheer amount of things, which that one I have to give a 6.5 because there's a lot of wasted areas. There's a lot of things that don't make sense. It actually kind of goes into the skateability part of it too, which once I get to the actual descriptions of everything, I'm just giving you the overall rating for now. And flow I also have to give a 6. And what I mean by flow is a lot of skate parks are set where you don't have to push. Like, all your speed is going to be coming from pumping rather than pushing. So the concept would be you're not pushing foot the whole time. You're actually pumping from point A to point B, as opposed to like having to push. Like all the speed you need to get can be gained through like the way the park is designed. That's flow. And yeah, it's kind of low on that one there because it's got stuff, but it doesn't have flow. So I'm giving that a 6 on that, 6 out of 10. So that's an average rating of 6.5 out of 10, which yeah, that doesn't sound that great as an objective score. I mean, you're looking at this from a standpoint of I'm thinking someone's gonna come from, let's say you're driving from Pittsburgh and you got a couple nights in Buffalo and they're like, all right, where am I gonna go skate? Regardless of where your hotel is, you're gonna have a whole bunch of options at your disposal. Within the Buffalo area, there's the Alix Rice Park, there's the Niagara Falls Park, there's Lasalle Park, there's Lockport Park, there's the DIY Park, there's Food Court, that's an indoor park, there's Hamburg Park, Lewiston even has a park. There's probably a few that I'm not listing here even that you can throw in there that are very viable skate spots. And you only got a day or two, so which one are you going to go to? Are you going to go to the one that's closest to you without thought, or are you going to like go to the one that's more suited to your style of skating? So that's what this objective rating is. You know, you drop in on that quarter pipe, that first quarter pipe as you come into the park, and you have this big, flat, open area that, yeah, great for a game of skate or anything or something, but there's no manual pad, no flat rail, no round rail, no slappy curb. There's just the bank and the kind of wall ride attachment to the bank. That's fun, but there's so much room there that you could have that plus something else there. Like, it just makes no sense that they would have nothing there, especially considering the way the rest of the park is designed, because you go naturally up. There's that launching ramp is just a bit too narrow, so you're really on your heels. Like, you have no angle to come in. If you want to hit that hubba, you have to be. That's where the skateability comes in. Skateability is that hubba is actually doable for a lot of people of a lot of skill levels, but the way you have to approach it makes it a harder thing to hit. That's where it loses its skateability points. Is a lot of the things that are there, yes, they're there, but it's not made in a way that makes it good. And I'll get to more of that as we go. Like, there's that hubba, yes, could be very nice, but you don't have that much room. The stairs there is all they have is a 4-stair on there, and it's a rather wide 4-stair. So you have to be pretty confident in stair ollies in order to approach that. So skateability goes down on that level. Yes, if you're an above average skater, yes, this is where that dividing line comes into play, where you're an above average skater that's like, yes, I can launch off a little kicker. Yep, I can ollie off a flat bank. Yep, I could do, launch off a curb. Yes, I could do a 2-stair. Yes, I can even do a short 3-stair, but are you ready for that big, long 4-stair? You probably have the ollie for it, but you don't have a stepping stone to get to that point. The closest thing that you have is ollieing over that bank, which is a nice stepping stone, but it's not what it could be for what it could be. So yeah, you move along from that point. There is that pretty fun little quarter with a little hip to it, and then you have to like skirt around the main bowl, and there's a ledge that is just it's your approach vector is all cockeyed because your ledge is right here. You're not coming in parallel and ollieing onto the ledge. You're coming in vertical and ollieing over the corner onto the ledge. Again, we're in that territory of skateability where that ledge is only really truly skatable if you are at the very least higher end average skater to above average skater. Like, it's a very difficult thing to commit to, especially because you screw up on that ledge and you come off weird. You've got a pool like literally 10 feet away from you that is not going to be a fun thing to plunge into because it's deep in concrete, not filled with water. So yeah, that's part of the reasoning for the skateability being a low score. It's part of the reason for the variety being a low score, because even the variety that it has is difficult. You make your way around the pool, and there's 2 little ledges on each side of the end there, and the first one, the only thing you can really do is stalls on, because there's 0 approach vector to really get a grind, and if you hit it the other way, all you're doing is coming off into the gravel grass. So then you go on to the other ledge, which for me, I can hit that pretty firmly front side, but for backside, you have to kind of take this and then do a very tight turn and be ready to ollie immediately to get on that. And that's, again, skateability. It's not that tall of a ledge. It should be something that somebody who's goofy foot can like practice, let's say, their backside 50-50 grinds. That's, as an average skater, that's gonna mark down that rating. So you come around that corner, and there is a kind of cool little fun banky area that's difficult to hit, but you can hit it. That's fun. Good, I like that. And then you come into the other part that's fun, that's good, but also very nitpicky. And that would be the little I think it's 1.5 foot. It might be 2 foot. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. But it could be a perfect little like segue learning area for kids trying to learn half pipes. But because of the way it's set up, it becomes more difficult because the flow level is very low. So yeah, you have a very mellow transition, 1.5, maybe 2 foot tall quarter pipe that leads into an extraordinarily long flat bottom that's dominated in the center by the Alix Rice Peace Park logo. Yes, but that's what their manual pad is a big circle. A big circle manual pad at a park that does not have a ledge that's reasonably tall for people to learn how to grind on. I love the idea. You could have made it a big square though and incorporated the peace symbol into the artwork around the square, and that would have been perfectly awesome. It would have been really nice in that central area there to have, you know, a place to actually learn manuals, maybe multi-level even. Like that would be badass, like something like with a very small, almost slappy level curb or manual pad that can be your beginner, but then like above that is a taller, so you can actually ollie onto it and then ollie onto the other, and ollie, like the options become pretty, you know, big there. You can have that right at the wall side here. You could have like a tall foot, you know, knee-high ledge that runs the length of that, and then a smaller manual pad that runs under that then becomes like a pretty, that immediately, boom, bounces the score of this up to like 88888. Like just do something like that, and you got 8s across the board plus more. Yeah, that's the main street side area. The bowls are very good. It's got a 6 foot, I think it's either 6 or 5 foot half pipe configuration, like an actual standard, even on both sides, fun to hit, just enough space. And then it's got, you know, your pool turns and your hips and your big clamshell and a couple other little fun things. That I'm not the biggest transition skater, so from my perspective, that is very fun. And I can see a lot of, if you're a transition skater, boom, you're gonna love that part of it. You're gonna love that, and the actual pool there has a lot of niceness to it, but the coping is really starting to degrade. It's got actual pool coping on it, but it's starting to degrade and fall apart. So again, cool feature, lacks skateability because of that, and for me, I ain't skating a tight transition 1.5 foot pool. That ain't for me, but I know people who love that thing and love to skate it, and more power to them. This park gets a big bump in the rating because of that. Like if you were to do subgroups, like you would probably get 9 for the bowl area, and like just the really low, I mean, like lack of proper ledges just gives it, like brings it down to a 1 or 2 just in that category. No rail whatsoever brings it to, you know, that's another big loss of points. So yeah, it unfortunately just loses a lot of points because of the lack of easier to skate things. Now, subjective rating. So this is the same rating. So the first 3 things are going to be equal, with the addition of 2 categories to make it a nice even division of 50 points. So the first one is, again, this is purely subjective. Is it close to home? And yes, it is very close to home. It's about 12 minutes away from my house. It's arguably the closest skate park to my house. The Tonawanda, that Ives skate park, I think is 13 minutes away. Technically speaking, if you were to do just a Google Maps from my house, yes, Alix Rice is the closest park to my house. So it gets a very high score in that regard, just because sometimes you only have a short period of time that extra drive time matters. And the second one is such a subjective one that's hard to put any kind of reasoning to, so I'll just throw it in there as it is. And is it still fun? Same scores for the subjective rating go into this. I could actually be meaner and knock it down a peg because I don't utilize the big transition stuff enough, but I know I should and I do use it, so same rating for the 3. Is it close to home? It gets a 10. That one, 10 out of 10, because yes, it's the closest park to me. And is it still fun? I give it a 9, because yeah, even with the limitations, it's a smooth riding surface. It's mostly well maintained. There's no big giant cracks or things like that. You're not, it's not totally graffitied. It's a well-kept park. I will bring one addendum, because when I bring the element rail bar and actually set it up there, all those ratings that I just said go up by a 1.5, because you have the mellow drop-in ramp and you have the steeper drop-in ramp and you have a quarter pipe. So if you have your rail right here, you can theoretically do whatever you need to do without taking a push. But that's the beef I have with the little mini quarter pipe area. A spine would be something that would be great to have in the center there, so that way you can actually treat it like a half pipe and actually learn spine tricks, because there isn't a spine of reasonable height. 3 to 4 foot. If you don't know how to do a spine, 3 to 4 foot is what you need. There you go. Is the scores, hard copied of the scores. Catch you on the flip. Peace.